Brain is a soft, delicate and mushy part, and it is a vital organ. It is very important that it is kept safe, and nature has taken all care to protect it from external injuries and shocks. In this part of lesson we are going to study about protective coverings of brain. There are many barriers because of which brain is protected from external environment. First of them is skin. Skin which is present on the scalp is forming the outermost boundary. But the skin of the scalp is not much differentiated from any other part of the body where skin is present. Scalp is rich in blood vessels and contain more hair follicles and more sebaceous glands than any other part of the body. Hair are also protective in nature because they are providing cushioning and protecting the brain from physical injuries. Below scalp, a hard bony cage is present which is called as skull. It is made up of 22 bones, out of which 8 bones they are forming the cranial box and 14 bones are forming the facial skeleton. If you look at this picture, then we will be able to see that how these bones they are joined to form the cranial box. These bones are occipital bone, 2 temporal bones, 2 parietal bones, 1 frontal, 1 sphenoid and 1 ethmoid bones. So that way these 8 bones they join with each other to form the cage like structure within which brain is present. We can see that these bones they are joined with each other through very irregular margin. These irregular margins are called as sutures. Sutures are not completely fixed at the time of birth, but around 2 years of age the child's skull bones begin to join together because the sutures they become bone. And the joint between these bones is called as immobile joint. Now because of this structure, it forms a very hard covering over the brain. Between skull and brain, there are 3 layers of tissues which are covering the brain, and these are called as meninges. Meninges provide double protection as they are filled with watery fluid called cerebrospinal fluid, which is a shock absorber. Let us study about these meninges in detail. These meninges, which are called as cranial meninges, are of 3 types, that is dura mater, arachnoid and pia mater. Dura mater is tough and strong and it fastens brain to skull so that it does not move within the skull. It also supplies a complex system of venous drainage through which blood can leave brain. Dura mater is attached to skull on one side and arachnoid on other side. Another very important function of dura mater is that it folds and separates brain into 2 hemispheres of cerebrum. That fold of dura mater which separates hemispheres is called as falx. Similarly, a fold of dura mater separates cerebellum from cerebrum, and that fold is called as tentorium. Below dura mater, arachnoid membrane is present, which is very thin and web-like and elastic membrane. It further isolates brain from other parts of body and keeps toxins and fluids etc. out of the brain. There is a space below arachnoid which is called as arachnoid space. Arachnoid space allot many blood vessels. Pia mater is the 3rd layer which is tightly covering the brain around all folds. We know that brain has a structure which is folded on the outer side, and pia mater is covering all folds around all gyri and sulci. Its main function is to act as barrier like other meninges, and it also helps in production of cerebrospinal fluid. If we look at this picture, we will be able to understand how these membranes or meninges are arranged. The outermost layer is scalp. Below scalp is cranium, that is the bone of skull. In connection with cranium is dura mater. Below dura mater is arachnoid membrane, and below arachnoid there is a space which is called as subarachnoid space, and this is the space where lot many blood vessels are present. This part, it shows the cerebral cortex, which is a part of brain, and the glia limitans is the membrane which is present in the neuroglia cells, which are present in the cortex, and pia mater is completely in close contact with the cells of brain. So this is how the different membranes, they are protecting the brain from outer side. There can be many reasons for bacterial, fungal, parasitic and viral infections in meninges, and they have large number of blood vessels, and blood may get collected in them due to trauma. Meningitis is an infection which causes meninges to swell and lead to life threatening situation, and this may happen suddenly and the condition may worsen very quickly. However, in most of the people, the condition gets better on their own within 7 to 10 days, and symptoms may pass like symptoms of flu or dehydration. Anyone can have meningitis, but children below 5 and adults above 55 are more susceptible. So, what is meningitis? It is an infection which causes meninges to swell and lead to life threatening situations. Cerebrospinal fluid is colorless body fluid which is produced by neuroglia cells, and every day around 400 to 600 ml of cerebrospinal fluid is secreted by filtering plasma. Around 150 ml of cerebrospinal fluid is always present in brain, out of which 25 ml is inside ventricles and remaining in subarachnoid space. Thus, there is need to continuously remove the cerebrospinal fluid so that the volume doesn't become too much. Its function is to provide protection, nourishment, removal of waste from the brain cells, and it also makes brain buoyant. And weight of brain reduces to 50 grams from 1500 grams, that is the normal brain weight of an adult. Brain has space inside it, and that is called as the ventricles. Ventricles are also filled with cerebrospinal fluid. If there is excess of cerebrospinal fluid in ventricles, then ventricles may swell and extra pressure may be exerted on brain. That can be very dangerous because it can damage brain. This picture is showing the ventricles which are present in the brain. There are some spaces, there are 4 ventricles which are present in the brain. These spaces, they are also filled with the cerebrospinal fluid, and outside the brain also there is cerebrospinal fluid present. Next comes the blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier is formed by highly selective semi-permeable border of endothelial cells. Due to this, solutes, toxins and pathogens present in the blood cannot pass to extracellular fluid on the central nervous system where neurons are present. Thus, they are protecting the brain from infections. This happens because of unique properties of blood vessels which supply to brain. Main function of blood-brain barrier is to provide protection from infections and neurotoxins. Out of this barrier, small lipid soluble molecules and oxygen and carbon dioxide gases can diffuse passively, whereas glucose and amino acids are transported by specific proteins. There are certain organs of brain where blood-brain barrier is not present. These organs are called as circumventricular organs. So, these are those structures that are not protected by the blood-brain barrier. For example, pineal gland and area postrema. Area postrema is called as the vomit center, and vomit center in brain is circumventricular. If toxic substances are present in bloodstream, then this may cause animal to throw up. Now, let us study about some educational implications. After birth, the brain continues to develop. During the preschool period, the brain grows 4 times in size and reaches almost 90% of its adult volume by the age of 6. So this makes us understand that why preschool period is very important for the brain development. Another information is regions of brain develop at different rates in different people. So that means different cognitive capabilities may be developing at different rates in different learners. People have different skills, talents and personalities. That means it is giving us some idea about the individual differences, that different learners may be having different skills, talents and personalities. There will be individual differences. 99% of brain works according to nearly identical principles, brain areas and processes. Everyone has the same brain regions and basic connectivity and circuit. Though there are individual differences, but 99% of the brain work is identical. So whatever principles and whatever knowledge we have gained about the working of brain, that is applicable to all individuals by and large, and everyone has same brain regions and basic connectivity and circuits.